How do you help someone who's currently in Scientology? And what do Scientologists think when you talk to them about Xenu and this galactic confederacy? Stay tuned because we'll be covering that in this video. As a member of the public division 6A of the Church of Scientology of London, it was my job to sell books and talk to people in the public who weren't already Scientologists and try and get them to come into the church to buy a book or start a course. And I wanted to talk a bit about the objections that we would get from people. So it would be quite often that people would come up and say, Xenu, or you believe in a cult, or all of these crazy things that you hear. And quite often it would drive me and other people working with me to want to believe in Scientology even more. It's something that you would instantly put up a block to and think, God, this person's obviously insane. He needs the help of Scientology if he thinks it's a cult. Now, a perfect example of when this has happened and has been captured on tape is part of BBC Panorama's documentary Scientology and Me. John Sweeney was offered the opportunity to go and speak to some current celebrity Scientologists, and although Scientology pulled the rights for them to show that footage in the original documentary, Scientology actually published some of the footage from this part of the film, so that allowed the BBC to use this footage in their second follow-up BBC Panorama documentary, and that's what we're going to watch here. I think it's got a really good example of how people or Scientologists would respond to these sorts of objections. So this is The Secrets of Scientology, which is the follow-up to Scientology and Me, the first BBC Panorama documentary. It's available on YouTube, but let's just have a little look at this.
Would you ever sit with a Jew and tell them that their religion was a cult?
No. Some people say, some people say, some people will say, some people say, some people say, some people say, some people say that it's a sinister brainwashing cult. What would you say?
I know. Some people have also said that women are really stupid and shouldn't vote.
Some people would say you're a member of a brainwashing cult. Some way brainwashed. You are brainwashed. You're brainwashed.
Do I look brainwashed to you? How dare you?
Now, I think that is an iconic piece of television when Anne Archer goes, do I look brainwashed to you? I think it's just such a perfect example of how a Scientologist would respond to such a statement. Now, imagine you are a member of a normal religion that's not considered a cult. You're a Christian or Jewish or something that is a mainstream religion that's widely accepted in the Western world. And someone came up to you and said, you know, are you brainwashed because you believe in God? You're going to think, what on earth? This person is, what do you mean am I brainwashed just because I believe in the Bible or just because I believe in Jesus or whatever? You think I'm brainwashed? Like, in your mind, you're going to think that's kind of hard. You're going to find it hard to comprehend that that people think you're a bit weird or strange for believing in Jesus. Now, that's just because Christianity and Judaism and Islam and many other religions are considered widely accepted in the Western world as of today, and Scientology is not. So when people would come up to me when I was working at the Church of Scientology in London, and they would ask me, do you need help getting out? You know, are you brainwashed? Do you believe in aliens? You guys are a crazy brainwashing cult. That wouldn't make me think, oh, a lot of people have said that to me today. I wonder if maybe they're right. That wouldn't even enter my mind. My mind would think, God, this just shows how much people don't actually understand and know about Scientology, because they think it's something that it's not. I'm not brainwashed, you know, because brainwashing is when people dangle a pendulum in front of your eyes and you go into some sort of hypnotic state, and that's not what we do in Scientology. Unfortunately, there is brainwashing that occurs in a different way in this hypnotic state that ends up happening during an auditing session. There's a whole set of videos about that Chris Shelton and John Atack have done that are highly, highly interesting. But these people in Scientology aren't aware that they are in a group that is coercively controlling them. They're not aware that that may be the state or situation that they're in. So confronting them with that isn't going to help them get them out. What is going to help is getting people to unpick and question these things in their mind to get them to come up with their own judgment or their own idea about something. Many a time I was in Scientology and I would be shown a policy that says one thing, and yet I read a policy earlier in the day that said the complete opposite. And in my mind, it wouldn't make sense. I would be like, well, if I'm meant to follow policy, which one am I meant to follow? Which one is correct? Which one is right? And there wouldn't be an answer. It's just about which one you apply in the right circumstance and the right time to achieve the goal you want to achieve. But that question, if someone had come up to me and said, here's, what do you think about this? Or how did it make you feel when you were locked in a room and told you can't leave until you wrote up your overts and your withholds? How did that make you feel? That is the sort of question that gets people to start thinking about the relationship they have with Scientology and perhaps what they are involved in. Because for me at the time, yes, I was upset, but afterwards, no one would ever ask how I felt about it because it's end data. And actually, I would have said I felt great because I was forced to follow tech and follow the policy and do the right thing and apply ethics. But in reality, you're suppressing that emotion, and that is something that leads to longer term effects, which is how I ended up realizing that Scientology still had an effect on me so many years later. So the reason for this video is just to help people understand that in Scientology, you genuinely think that you're doing the best and the right thing. Most Scientologists are good people. Unfortunately, they don't realize, they don't understand that they're in a coercively controlling group, or they're in a cult, or whatever you want to call it. And the way we're going to start getting people to understand and help people out of Scientology, if that's what they want to do, is by getting them to question themselves and ask things and figure out in their own mind what they believe about Scientology and what they think they're involved in. When you look at things with perspective, at the time, if someone says you've got to disconnect from this person because they're suppressive against the church, you're going to think, yeah, absolutely, I believe in Scientology, and why would I let anyone stand in the way of that? If someone's being mean to me, even if that is my own family member, if they're getting in the way of Scientology, then obviously I'm not going to talk to them anymore. But when you look at it in perspective and go, hold on here, you're putting Scientology first and you're saying this person's getting in the way of Scientology. Well, is Scientology really the best way of helping people? Is Scientology really achieving what it says it's achieving? Are you clearing hundreds, if not thousands of people every year? Are you helping millions of people get off drugs? Are you helping millions of students learn how to apply things in school using study technology? Because unfortunately, especially here in the UK, the data does not show that. Narconon has 2 students at a time and 7 staff members. They are not equipped to handle more than 16 people at a time. There's no more than 16 people at a time that Scientology and Narconon can be helping get off drugs, and yet they say they're helping thousands of people off drugs. Greenfield School was recently, in 2017, in the inspection report from the ISI, said that it was poorly managed, and I did a whole video on it, that study tech does not work. The students are actually achieving below average grades. These are the facts of the matter, and these are things that you don't see as a Scientologist. So as a Scientologist, you've got to look at things and think, am I really, is what I'm being told really the truth? And is Scientology really the best way of helping humankind? Because there are many other ways to help people that don't involve Scientology. And also, there's nothing wrong with being a Scientologist and believing in Scientology. You can believe in whatever you want. It's your own right. It's absolutely true. However, when it is coercively controlling you and manipulating you and you don't even know it, that's when it starts to become harmful. So all I ask is, next time you come across a Scientologist, stop and think for a second before shouting Xenu or you're in a cult or whatever, and just think, hold on, this person in front of me genuinely thinks that what they're doing is the best thing and the right thing for humankind. Just have that in your back of your mind and let that influence what you say to them. Anyway, that's it for now, guys. If you want to support the channel, please buy me a coffee using the link in the description. But if you can't help financially, the best way, as I've always said, to support this channel is to like, share, subscribe, comment, all that sort of stuff. And hopefully I will see you guys very, very soon.